I always thought shortcuts were just ways to save time, until the night I learned some paths don't like being crossed twice. It happened 3 years ago when I was still living in the outskirts of my hometown, a quiet district where the streetlights dimmed early and the houses thinned out past the old community park. I used to walk home from my late shift every night, and I always took the same route, down Birch Lane, past the playground, then across a narrow shortcut path that cut between 2 rows of abandoned allotment gardens. It wasn't the nicest area, but it shaved 10 minutes off my walk, and after working until almost midnight, those 10 minutes mattered. The shortcut wasn't really a path, so much as a worn-foot trail carved by people who had no patience for the long way. There were no lights, just a faint outline of dirt and dead leaves. I used my phone flashlight and kept my eyes ahead. I never looked behind me, because there was never a reason to. The place was quiet, too quiet sometimes, but nothing had ever happened to make me fear it. That night began normally. Cool air, clear sky, and an emptiness that comes when everyone else is already indoors. But the minute I stepped onto the shortcut, I felt something off. Not dangerous, not threatening, just wrong in a subtle way I couldn't name. Halfway through the trail, I noticed a shape on the ground. A square of paper, folded, crushed at the edges. When I lifted it with my foot, I saw a child's messy drawing. A crooked tree, a stick figure, and something behind the stick figure that looked like stretched fingers. Kids sometimes played near here, so I shrugged it off. But I still felt uneasy enough to quicken my pace. I came out of the shortcut in under a minute, like always. The street looked normal. My apartment building was 3 blocks away. Everything felt fine again, until I heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Behind me. I froze. They were my footsteps. These had weight to them, like someone much larger was stepping exactly in the spaces I had just walked. I turned instantly. There was no one there. No wind. No sonidos. No movement. Just the mouth of a shortcut behind me, black and empty. But the footsteps kept going, so close they might as well have been next to my ear, yet there was absolutely no one in sight. I did something I almost never do. I stepped backward to look inside the shortcut again, sweeping my flashlight across the dirt path. My light hit something that shouldn't have been there. The path had changed. The narrow dirt trail I walked every night was gone, completely. In its place was something wider, packed with fresh soil as if it had been dug up recently. There were deep, uneven footprints leading along it, but the spacing was impossible. Each step was nearly twice the length of a normal stride, like someone or something enormous had been walking. And then I saw it. Not a figure, not a shadow, a handprint pressed deep into the soil, not shaped like a human hand. The palm was long, narrow, and the fingers were stretched, almost branch-like, too thin and too many. My throat closed. I stumbled away from the path, convinced someone was playing a nightmare-level prank. But the soil was freshly packed, damp under the beam of my light. This wasn't a prank. Someone had physically reshaped the path. Recently. And then the footsteps started again. But this time they were moving toward me. Not from behind. Not from the path. From everywhere. Like the sound was circling me, tightening, closing whatever distance I had left. I ran. Not fast enough. Not smart enough. Just pure animal panic. I didn't look at houses or cars, or anything except the lit windows of my apartment at the end of the block. Behind me, the footsteps grew heavier, the kind of heavy that makes the ground tremble, like something huge was dragging itself closer. I could hear breath, long, hollow, like wind pushing through a tunnel. Right when I reached my building door, the footsteps stopped, right behind me. I didn't turn around. I didn't want to know what would be standing there if I did. I lunged inside, slammed the door, and locked every bolt I had. Only then did I dare look through the small glass panel in the hallway door. Nobody was outside, but the ground right in front of the entrance was disturbed. The same fresh soil, the same elongated footprints, and next to the footprints, the same child's drawing I'd seen earlier. Except now the stick figure was crossed out with a thick black line. For weeks after that, I avoided the shortcut. I told myself the city must have done construction on the path, or someone had played a cruel but elaborate joke. But no one in the neighborhood knew anything about it. The city had no record of work orders. And a few days later, The path returned to normal. Narrow, overgrown, undisturbed, as if nothing had ever changed. But every time I passed by, I felt the ground shift just a little beneath my feet, like something underneath was still moving. I threw away the drawing I found, but I swear, sometimes at night, I'll find dirt under my apartment door. Just a little. Just enough to let me know the path hasn't forgotten me, and that it knows the way to my home.